All right, it is Tuesday night, and I am back after being sick last week for another episode of Goal Horns and Fight Songs. It sounds like Brent did a phenomenal job of filling in. Ended up not meeting up with him, but I sent him $20 on Venmo for his lunch because Omaha made the Frozen Faceoff Championship, which I was happy for the team. My wallet did not want to give him the $20, but kind of a fun weekend.
Yeah, no, I think some great hockey was played there at XL Energy Center. Um, I will say I did go 3 for 3 on predictions this weekend. So a little pat on the back to me. There it is. Because sometimes you got to give yourself a pat on the back. Um, no, Omaha came out and really like controlled a lot of that game. They were maybe a little bit surprising as to what the score ended up being, but they have played North Dakota hard all season long, and this was no different. They played a really stellar game Friday, and North Dakota just wasn't able to get it going. And for the third year in a row, we had the team coming out of that 3-4 or that 4-5 matchup, making it to the
Yeah.
finals of the NCHC Frozen Faceoff.
Yeah, I thought Omaha, um, I turned it on a little bit late, but still within the first period. I thought they played well, and even their game against Denver in the championship, I thought they played really well. It was just one of those games, nothing was going to go right for them.
No, I mean really, once you saw that first, well, we'll get to the championship game, but maybe the surprise was just how close the St. Cloud Denver game was. I mean, that game was straight back and forth every time St. Cloud scored. Denver was there to answer it. I think there were St. Cloud State had the lead like 4 separate times or 5 times. I don't remember. I think it was 6-5. Was that, or was it 4 or 5-4? Was the final
I think
score?
it was 5-4.
Yeah. So I mean, St. Cloud had four 1 goal leads in that game that Denver was able to erase and force overtime and then score the overtime game winner pretty quickly. So that was nice. The boys weren't playing an extra game out there before the championship game. Um, and that
But
and
was it really that surprising based off of just generally like our preseason predictions with where we thought St. Cloud was going to be and where we thought Denver was going to be? Was it that surprising?
I think the surprising thing was the fact that there were 9 goals scored in the game, and it was literally back and forth the entire time. Um, I think that was the surprising thing of that game. We knew that Denver had a high-powered offense and was capable of scoring 5 goals. We hadn't really seen a lot of that from St. Cloud. They had been super inconsistent lately as well. They did put up, I think 10, 11 goals or something like that on Western the weekend before. So their offense had been rolling a little bit. Um, we knew Denver's defense wasn't a whole lot to be bragging about on the defensive end there because their defensive players on offense are ridiculous. Zev Byam was the player of the game for that game, and he had the overtime game winner, which I think was his second goal of that night. He played extremely
Yeah.
well in the championship game too. The I think was is he the one who picked up the award? Just double check the NCHC awards here. I know it was one of them. I know one of them was offensive defenseman, and I believe the other was rookie of the year. But I want to make sure.
The weird part was is like I didn't look at the social media, but in between periods they were talking with Starman about the awards, and
Yeah, they usually do a recap of the awards throughout the weekend.
they did a recap,
last
but
year.
it was all the nominees, and from what I picked up when I was paying attention was they didn't really say who won and they didn't highlight the winner
They say the winner
of
after
that award.
they say that they show the three finalists and then they show the winner. And but Dave kind of breaks down each of them and then usually says who wins.
And that probably is where I got lost.
There we
Where I was like, okay, I know these three players.
go. Colorado College did really well at the awards this year. Mayat was the coach of the year, which we had kind of predicted. Player of the year Jackson Blake. Senior Scholar Athlete Award winner Western Michigan's Luke Granger. Rookie of the year Zev Byam from Denver, unanimous winner there. So yeah, he was the rookie of the year. Him and his brother both played extremely well this last weekend. He was also the offensive defenseman of the year for Denver. Goaltender of the year went to Caden Emberko from Colorado College. Unanimous decision there. No real surprise. Um, Forward of the year, Jackson Blake. Usually the forward of the year and the player of the year are more often than not the
Yeah.
same player. Really, I think Zev could have put some competition for player of the year as well, but because he was offensive defenseman and rookie of the year, I think that was where they made the distinction. Shane Barons. Nope, that's not Shane. That's Sean Barons because he spells it the goofy way. Sean Barons of Denver was the defensive defenseman of the year, which means it was a sweep of defenseman awards for Denver for, I believe, the second year. Defensive forward of the year, Noah Laba. Sportsmanship award winner, Darren Goats. Darian Goats?
Darian. Yep.
There's an I there. Learn to read, Chowderhead. 3-star award winner, Noah Laba. Media Excellence Award winner, Terry Leahy, Omaha Mavericks radio announcer. So all the award winners there. And I mean, the championship game, unfortunately, like Cozy kind of got off to a rough start, letting in that 5-hole goal early. That was enough that Denver needed to see the puck go in the back of the net. Because as we've said, if Denver sees the puck go in, they're like a 3-point shooter. They see that puck go in, and they're just going to start making shots, and they're going to put up goals quick and often. It's not going to be the greatest of times.
Yeah, it was I think Denver's first two goals, they just weren't great by Latkozy. That first goal, it was so weak. I mean,
I mean, Omaha
I
does
think a
answer
chimp.
back, and they get one back pretty quickly. So it's at least 1-1
Yeah, it's
early in
at
the
least
second period.
1-1, but at the same time, it's hard to defend against Denver when you see a goal like that go in, where it's like, oh boy, our 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 goalie just doesn't have it. And the second one, I think it was, a point shot that went
That thing just
high
found a spot.
blocker. Yeah, like it just found a spot, but it's one that Cozy probably should have had. Because there was no screen, there was nothing in front of him. He probably should have had that. And as soon as that second one went in, it was pretty much game over. The first one, it's kind of game over with Denver, but that second one, especially with how it went in, you just knew Cozy didn't have it. Omaha didn't have it. They tried their best. There's no denying the fight that Omaha had in that game. It's just they didn't have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, they gave up a goal. The third goal was scored on the delayed call. Um, some of the penalties I think were a little not iffy. They were just poor to take when they were taken. Um, that kind of put the Mavs in a little bit of a hole. They had plenty of opportunities on the power play too. Um, there was a lot of penalties on both sides that negated some power plays and created some shortened power plays. But the Denver power play looked to be a little smoother. There was just a lot of the passing wasn't as clean, and I don't know if it was just that emotional hangover of winning, of making it to the Frozen Faceoff for the first time. Apparently, a lot of the guys were sick the weekend before against Colorado College. Um, but they got there. They played really, really well against North Dakota, a familiar opponent. A team that was their fifth meeting with them this year. Uh, they had won, I think, 3 out of the previous 4, if not, yeah, I think 3 out of the previous 4. Um, it's like the most important one, but just didn't have it against Denver, a team that they kind of struggled with all season. Um, Even though they had some things going in their favor, and Davis came out and played extremely well and made the saves that he needed to. That was probably his best game. But you know what? I think if you're an Omaha fan, not only did you beat North Dakota, but you also made it so that they couldn't play in what would have been, I believe, the closest regional to them in Sioux Falls,
Yep, Sioux Falls. I think
where
it's like
where
a
Omaha is
3 hour drive.
where Omaha is the host team, so they get to play there. They boot North Dakota down a little bit further south. They'll play in, I believe, the Midwest is the name of the region, with the University of Michigan, Michigan State, and Western Michigan.
I mean, too bad like they didn't fire Michigan Tech in there to make an all Michigan regional at that point.
Yeah, that I tell you what, that that regional is catching a whole lot of chatter, and it's not just because of the teams that are there. Um, and we could dive into that in a little bit, but I do still want to get to congratulations to Denver. It's their third Frozen Faceoff championship. There's only one Frozen Faceoff left. I'm sure they're still going to call the playoffs the Frozen Faceoff, but this is the penultimate version of this, played at XL Energy Center, next year being the final one. Still the Penrose winner, the only Penrose winner to also win the Frozen Faceoff was North Dakota when the playoffs were played completely at Ralph Engelstad, so I don't really count it. It was that 2020-2021 year with the pod and all the silliness that year was, so doesn't really count.
Denver is the second 3-time winner
Yep.
of the Frozen Face-Off as well.
Yep.
Because we did it first.
They knocked off the reigning champion to take the championship in St. Cloud State, who had not only won it last year, but that was their first semifinals loss in the Frozen Faceoff. They had every year they had made it to St. Paul. They were playing in the championship game as well, so that was their first loss there. I believe Denver is now pretty close to being. That's not what I wanted. That's fine though. It'll be all right for a second. Let me see what Denver's at. The power of spreadsheets. They're everywhere. Denver is actually 3-0 in championship games now. So, of the 10 times they have made it to the Frozen Faceoff, they are 3-7 in the semis, but 3-0 in the finals. Minnesota Duluth is 3-1 in the finals. North Dakota 1-1. Colorado College 0-1. Miami, surprisingly, 1-1 in the finals, 2-0 in the semis, but they have not made the semifinals since the first 2 years in the league.
And I know exactly who UMD lost to because I was at that game, and it was to St. Cloud.
It was their first year in the finals.
Yep.
UMD's first year in the finals.
Yep, I was there. I watched it.
But St. Cloud's second year in the finals because they lost to Miami the previous year. So,
but maybe this year, and we'll get into it, but depending on who's in the the actual national championship game. I think I'm thinking about going to that this year. But anyway,
Yeah, the goal
congrats
now.
to
Oh, go
oh
ahead.
go ahead.
No, please
I
continue.
was just saying congrats to Denver. Um and also congrats to Omaha. Uh they ended up also knocking out them and St. Lawrence knocked out Colorado College from being in the national tournament because I think it was the combination of the Omaha win and then also the St. Lawrence win over Quinnipiac. I believe they beat.
I don't.
Uh,
There was a lot going on as far as what was happening minute by minute in the pairwise as games were wrapping up on Saturday. Um,
yeah, but I believe this was Friday.
Friday, Colorado College still had a shot to get in. I think at one point they needed Denver. At one point, I
Oh,
think they needed
hang on.
no. I think they always needed Denver to lose. But once Denver won it, I believe it was pretty
I
close to
know
what solidified it.
there was something with St. Lawrence though. Um, you can talk as I find this.
Well, I mean, it's kind of the last point to wrap up before we look at the bracket, so I'm waiting for you to hurry it up.
Oh, why can I not find the bracket?
So, do. Look at us wasting time here. This would be a great time
There we
if
go.
there were some questions in the
Uh,
chat, but there's not. So, waiting on Michael here.
yes, it was when St. Louis beat Quinnipiac that it didn't officially eliminate Colorado College, but they needed Venus to align with Saturn and it be a blood moon and the stars align. Basically, they had a 1% chance. So once Quinnipiac lost to St. Lawrence and made the ECAC final, it mathematically basically eliminated Colorado College, which is unfortunate because of the year that they had. They had such a good year. They that program's been built up over the last 3 years. They had a chance. It just relied on um, other teams, and other teams did not help them out.
That and some early non-conference losses. We saw the importance of non-conference schedules this year. I believe that's kind of what hurt St. Cloud State because really, even though Western played a softer non-conference schedule, they did not lose a non-conference game in regulation, and really that's what kept them in the running for most of the season because they did not have the greatest NCHC year, uh, and in fact made the NCAA tournament over two teams that finished conference-wise ahead of them in St. Cloud and Colorado College, who both suffered some important losses in the non-conference schedule. And we've kind of said similar things about Omaha in years past. Like they've played some non-conference schedules that have hurt them and suffered some untimely losses that made their NCHC season that much more important and didn't quite get the same results that they'd gotten this year. And we're seeing that difference. They won games, they were in a lot of tight games, and they're going to the tournament this year, and they're a dangerous team in their regional. They have an opportunity to make some noise just as much as anybody else, and they play a really good brand of hockey that I think suits the tournament well.
I think so, and I was even listening before before we got on here. The 9 to noon show on K-Fan, and they had Pat Micheletti, and he does some stuff for the Gophers, and he's actually going to be in Sioux Falls calling the games, I think, on the radio. But he was talking about Omaha and just the style of hockey that they play, and he said they play a really good style of hockey. Like it, exactly what you said. It fits for this tournament. Like they can play and they can win at least a few games. You're muted.
And they're built from the net out, which is how you want to build a team. They have a great goaltender in Simon Latkozy. They have great defensemen who are smart 200 feet of the ice. You know, they know when to chip in offensively. They know when to kind of be back and not let guys get behind them. Uh, their power play runs efficiently. They're smart. They've got goal scorers. Zach Erdahl had a hat trick in the Friday game against North Dakota. They've competed against top teams in the country, taking again 3 out of 4 in the regular season from North Dakota, adding to that in the playoffs with their win there. They competed with Denver all year. Um, Latkozy was probably someone who was close to being, could have competed with Umberko for goaltender of the year, and has played at a world level, having spent time with the Slovakian World Junior team. So they're built smart. They're built right. They've got a good mix of young guys and experience. Their coach has done a great job with it, getting that team ready. And they take on, I guess we'll start there with the Sioux Falls region. They will play Minnesota in the first round on Thursday at 8:30 on ESPNU. I don't know much about Minnesota.
Oh, keep talking. I'm putting trying to put the names down so we can keep our picks here, at least for first 2 rounds.
I don't know if I'm gonna do full picks this year. There's so much going on. And I'm not gonna be watching as much potentially. I think Minnesota had kind of an up and down year. I don't exactly remember. I'm gonna look their schedule or their record up real quick. Which isn't gonna tell me everything, but it'll at least tell me a little bit. 22-10-5 overall, not terrible. They did have a lot. They split with North Dakota, swept by Wisconsin, and a win and a tie against Minnesota Duluth, a win and a tie against Michigan, a win and a straight split with Notre Dame, a win and a tie against Michigan State, split with Penn State, win and a tie with Ohio State, split with Colorado College, swept Ohio State, split with Michigan State, win and a tie with Wisconsin, swept Penn State,
I
split with
think
Notre Dame, split with Michigan, beat Penn State in the first round of the Big Ten playoffs, lost to Michigan.
I think
I think at one point they were ranked number 1, weren't they, for a hot minute?
they were it's a to me it's a tough matchup for Omaha to get in the first round, but it's not impossible for them to actually win this. Um, it depends on what Minnesota team that you get. Now, I have not watched them really at all other than the St. Cloud and the UMD. Like, they're just not on my radar. But the firepower that they have is not what it was last year, especially with them losing a bunch of kids like
That's
like a Brock
Cooley,
Faber, like a
Faber.
Cooley. There's a third. I think Nyes
I
was
think,
another one.
yeah, I think he was a late departure.
Yeah, but they lost some firepower, so they're not as high end as they were, but they're still a high end team. I I do think Minnesota takes this one, but I would not be surprised if Omaha actually comes out of this. Um, I, I would just lean more Minnesota than I would Omaha, but if I do think Omaha has the edge in goaltending. It's just, do they stay out of the box and can they win the faceoffs? Because I think it was Sullivan was, they said he was the best faceoff man in the NCHC. Like he won the most faceoffs.
He was
At
definitely
least
up
won the
there.
most.
Yeah, he was up there.
Yeah, he at least won the most faceoffs. I don't know if he was best by percentage. Um, so this one's, it's closer than I think people are giving it credit for.
Yeah, I don't really remember much of Minnesota. I know they were in the championship game last year. They lost to
Quinnipiac.
Quinnipiac.
Yep.
Um, Motzko's a great coach. He gets his teams prepared. They seem to come on stronger as the season goes on. They had been in the last two Big Ten championship games. I think before this year they were competing for the Big Ten regular season title. I think won at least one of them, if not both of them, in the last 2 years. Uh, he's a great coach and gets his team ready. I really don't know how to call this one. Um, I mean, I think even if I were just to flip like really a lot of these are just coin flips and kind of um, first first look. If I just heard the names, I might lean Omaha just because I know a little bit more about them, but that doesn't really help in this situation per se. Um, because I'm not giving enough credit to Minnesota, and I really don't want to pick games this year for this.
That's fair enough.
Because I think a lot of, I mean, it's the thing is like it's so hard to pick since they made the regionals what they are with that game in the middle, or that day off in the middle. We've I've really focused in on just NCHC this year and not really paid attention to a lot of other stuff. And even then, I was still kind of hit and miss on what I was watching this year just because of the first full year with the baby and life. Um,
Oh yeah, for sure.
I definitely believe in Omaha. I've picked Omaha quite a few times this year. I've picked them sometimes arguing for them against even their own fans. If you watched the last episode, I had to talk Brent into picking his own damn team. Um,
Because he's
and
not a true believer.
and I'm gonna go ahead and point out that I was right. Told you so, Brent. Um, I did know that they would fall to Denver in the finals, though. So suck on that. Um, the other matchup there is BU and RIT.
I think RIT is only Atlantic hockey team in the tournament.
Um,
That's one that I don't know much about. I would just go with
I think
BU,
BU,
but
yeah.
Atlantic hockey, they've proven, especially with was it AIC or whatever, that team the past couple years, they can surprise some people.
I mean, they did go
Uh,
27-10-2 this year. It's not like they were playing terrible hockey. They just come from kind of an off conference. But
because
BU has been strong all year. They went 26-9-2. Like they've just been kind of
I
what
think
when you think of BU, they are the powerhouse they're a powerhouse school. It hasn't necessarily shown up the last few years, but they're right back there.
Is it them that played? I want to say they played Denver this year.
I think in one game,
Uh,
Denver had that two like one game matchups out east. I believe they played one of the I know they played one of the Boston teams.
yeah, um, I'm pulling it up right now.
I got it. It's already found it. They played BC. They played Providence and BC.
Oh, okay.
I guess if I have to pick, if we're gonna hold my feet to the fire, I'll go BU and Omaha, with BU advancing to the Final Four.
And I would go.
I'm gonna write it down.
I would go. Um,
I think you have Minnesota. BU.
yeah, I have Minnesota winning both, and it's Minnesota BU.
Winning both. It's one game, you numpty. Unless you have
No,
Minnesota
I'm
beating
saying like
BU.
first. No, I'm saying first round, second round, advancing to the Final Four.
So you have Minnesota beating BU.
Yes.
On Saturday.
Whenever they play that second round game.
Saturday. They have a Thursday-Saturday matchup.
Okay. Yeah. Then yep. I have Minnesota moving on.
All right. Then let's go to the other. I'm going to bounce around and not necessarily do these in order. Go to what is considered the Midwest Regional that will be played in Maryland Heights, Missouri. I will be on hand for Friday's matchups. I will not be there for the championship game because I have to come home. Because I have this thing called work on Monday that's going to suck. This regional features Michigan State taking on Western Michigan in Game 1 at 5 o'clock Eastern on ESPNU on Friday. And North Dakota taking on Michigan at 8:30 Eastern on ESPNU.
I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Michigan State has been much improved this year. I believe winning the Big Ten regular season and the Big Ten tournament. I believe they took both this year. Let me make sure though. I believe they did. I know they definitely won the tournament.
Yeah, they won the tournament.
I believe they were, in fact, the 1 seed. They were. They won the regular season and the tournament championship in the Big Ten this year. Much of that behind the goaltending of Detroit Red Wing prospect Trey Augustine, who is phenomenal. And it sucks that Western is going to run into another freaking good goaltender. Because Western Michigan has been super inconsistent this year. They have played well against Michigan State in recent years. I believe they're like 10, or in their last 10, they're like 6-3 against them or something like that. They have not seen Trey Augustine, though. Western has lost some close games that I think they were more than capable of winning. Again, it's a consistency issue. How consistent can that defense play in front of Cam? How consistent can Cam be? Can he finally get some puck luck that goes his way instead of allowing the most ridiculous, unlucky goals I have ever seen a goaltender allow? They know the barn. They have that going for them. They played Lindenwood twice in this building earlier this year. So they'll at least
That is
have
true.
a little bit of a comfort factor going in. Uh More so than any of the other teams. This is a heart pick. I'm going Western. I mean they have the ability to win this game. They have an offense that can put up points inconsistently. Like that is the key for Western Michigan. How consistent
Hmm.
can you be? Can you not be consistently inconsistent for the next 4 games that you play? Can you figure out
Basically, can you not be Omaha?
like just can you not be yourselves for 4 games that you have been this season? Traditionally, Western plays pretty well at neutral site games. It should be a sellout crowd because it is a small ice arena. If you haven't heard that news, there is a pretty good, from what I've seen on Western Twitter, there is a pretty good contingent of Bronco fans making the 6-hour trip down. Um, Again, I will be down there for the Friday series or Friday games. I'm gonna
I,
try and stay
I
for
think you're
both.
nuts.
I'm gonna try and stay for both because it is Big Ten versus NCHC.
Yeah,
Uh,
for those both both matchups.
yep. I think Western can win the first one. To me, really, if this feels like the most winnable region that Western has been in a long time. They know all 3 of these opponents. They've played all 3 of these schools pretty regularly the last few years. I mean, Michigan has kind of fallen out of favor the last 2 seasons, I believe. But the coaching staffs have competed against each other numerous times. North Dakota, Michigan feels a little bit more of a toss up to me, which maybe it should because it's the 2-3 matchup in the region. North Dakota's on. They've been a little bit inconsistent too. I don't know if that's it, the piecemeal defense is starting to wear on them, or if it was the fact that they didn't have. Uh, I don't think they had Ludwig Person for that first game in the against Omaha this last weekend. I believe he was dealing with an illness or an injury. Um, Hopefully he'll be
Yeah,
back because I think he gives them their best opportunity to win. Michigan has slumped a little bit this year. If they did make it to the Big Ten championship, they fell to Michigan State. They're looking to get a potential rematch there if they can win. Um, I think I'm just gonna go NCHC bias real hard on this one. Unfortunately, it means I have to listen to that stupid. Either way, that is a battle of just stupid goal songs. At least Michigan's is their fight song, so I lean slightly better as to that being less annoying than the Chicago Blackhawk wannabes and their stupid fight song. But I'll pull for the conference on this one. I'll go the Rob Lowe, and I'll wear the league hat and go. You're not looking at me being an idiot. I'll wear the league hat right there. Little fan of the week prize right there. Uh, and take North Dakota over Michigan. So it'll be an all NCHC regional final, and I'm gonna pick Western Michigan to beat North Dakota, which we haven't done all year, but they deserve to be smacked to their mouth too. So Western's going to win a regional because I think they can do it, and this feels like the one. If they have an opportunity to do it, it's going to be this one.
all right. So Western is winning and winning, and Michigan is losing, and um, uh, UND. I had to put in there winning and losing. I I have a tough time with this regional. Um, the first matchup between Michigan State and Western Michigan. I want Western to win, but they have not exactly what you said with please just don't be yourselves for 4 games. Um
Be the best version of
I
you. Please.
I have an issue trusting them to even win 1 game. And Michigan State's on a roll right now. And it's it's kind of a dumb thing to say because you're playing a conference championship. Like any conference champion, they're on a roll,
Yeah.
regardless of who you're playing. Um, but Michigan State also won a conference where last year was it 3 teams beat or built snowmen, 3 or 4.
Something like that.
Now it's college hockey, college athletics in general. They're always not going to be the same teams. I just think Sparty wins um, and beats Western probably by about 2 goals, with one being an empty netter. And then the other one, I do think North Dakota beats Michigan. Um, I Big Ten hockey, don't know anything except for when the teams play, but I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say that that North Dakota has the goaltending edge with Person, assuming he's healthy, um, and is able to play. He is one of the best goaltenders in the nation. The NCHC is lucky to have 3 of the best goaltenders in the nation with Imberko and Latkozy, and then Person. Uh, so I'm gonna go North Dakota, Michigan State, green on white, violence, and I don't want to do it, but I want to say North Dakota makes the Frozen Four.
I think so far I've picked all 3 NCHC teams to at least make it out of the first round.
Um,
I'm really hoping that Michigan State just kind of overlooks Western. I'm hoping the fact that, they are a 1 seed. Western gets up and wants to play that game. The fact that it's an in-state rival that they haven't necessarily played in the last couple of years will make it so they really take this game seriously. That they know the arena maybe provides an edge, just something. Please, just be the team that beat Denver twice, like smoked Denver twice. Be those Broncos.
all right, let's see. What do we got next?
Next up is we're going out east. To where's the other one? Let's go to Rhode Island in the Providence Regional. This one is BC versus Michigan Tech, another Michigan team making the conference, the tournament. And then Wisconsin versus defending national champions Quinnipiac. This one,
Which one do you want to start with?
I feel like this regional is kind of maybe, well, I don't know, that 2-3. My brain just goes BC Quinnipiac making it through to the second, to the regional final here. So I'm just
See,
going wide first. First thoughts.
I I guess we'll start with the Wisconsin Quinnipiac one, since you said that. Uh, I don't necessarily think Quinnipiac makes it through. Partly because they did lose to St. Lawrence in their conference tournament, but also because Wisconsin is like 80% Mankato, and they also have the coach from Mankato, in Mike Hastings. I would not put it past Wisconsin to win this game. And I know I'm having a Big Ten bias here with with certain things, and I do not like the Big Ten, but I just think Quinnipiac, they yes, they're going to have a chip on their shoulder from losing to St. Lawrence in the ECAC title or in the semis. Uh, but I just think Wisconsin has found something, at least this year, uh, with Hastings as the coach, and then them bringing a lot of players over from Mankato, a team that has experience. Like a lot of these players have experience in the tournament, same as probably Quinnipiac. Uh, they've made it far. Uh, Coach that knows what he's doing. Just, I think Wisconsin holds a slight edge.
They were 10 and 4 in their non-conference schedule. It was Wisconsin, I believe. Yeah, that would have to be right. 10-4 and 1. Those losses were to North Dakota, Alaska Anchorage. They tied Lindenwood.
As we saw, though, that goalie is a puck magnet.
That dude, he is something. Went 1-2 against Ohio State in the playoffs. Who else did they lose to? In the non-conference. Nope. They did win the Quick Trip Holiday Faceoff, beating Air Force and Northeastern. Maybe I mathed wrong. No, I didn't math wrong. There should be one more loss. North Dakota, Anchorage, tie with Lindenwood. What? Oh, you know what? I think technically the 2 losses to Ohio State count as non-conference games, even though they're in the Big Ten tournament. I think that's what it is.
Why would they?
I don't know, but I think that's what they do.
Oh, that's.
I think that's like
okay.
all conferences do it that way because like only because they're not scheduled and you don't know who you're playing or some nonsense is the reasoning behind it. I think.
Yeah, whatever. But
or it's like if you were to play a conference opponent in a holiday tournament, like the Bean Pot games don't count towards conference standings.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that's what it is. They don't count towards conference standings, so they consider them non-conference because they don't. The conference standings are done by the time playoffs hit.
So, anyway, you have Quinnipiac moving on, and you have BC.
BC will go to the Final Four. Where did my pin go? There it is.
I don't I don't disagree with that. Um, I would go the same way. Michigan Tech, they won. I think they were the 3 seed, and they beat Bemidji in the conference tournament finals. But the, I mean, as soon as Hastings left Mankato, there's really no strong team. Other St. Thomas, they're up and coming. They did very, very well. Um, but they're just not postseason eligible at this point. I think they still have a couple of years. Uh, the the CCHA is not very strong, so I think BC wins, and then I think BC beats Wisconsin. The little bit that I watched when Denver was out there, BC absolutely took it to them. Even though it was early in the year, they were just a very good team. And
Yeah.
that leaves us with one other regional.
Yeah, we're going to Springfield, Massachusetts, as Denver takes on the host team of Massachusetts. I believe UMass. I don't know what some of these universities. I don't know what the hell they call themselves. But I believe it's UMass is the proper nomenclature for that one.
Yep.
And then the Maine Black Bears and the Cornell
Big Red.
Oh, Big Red. I was going to say, are they the Cardinals? But no.
Nope, they're the Big Red. I think. God, now you have me second guessing myself, but I'm pretty sure they're the Big Red.
I don't know.
I know they have a bear.
I know their number one alum is Andy Bernard, who worked at Dunder Mifflin.
Yep. That's exactly where it's going.
So that tells you how much I care about Cornell here.
We'll put it simply. I think Denver comes out of this one.
But I have Denver over Mass and Maine over Cornell. I hear good things about the Maine team. I don't really know much. I believe Jimmy Howard played for Maine before playing for the Detroit Red Wings years ago. Maybe. Was it him or was it? I know they put a couple guys in the NHL.
Ben Bishop, I think, went to Maine. I know Thiessen went to Maine before he transferred to UMD, and look how well that turned out. I just I have no faith in either of those two teams, and like we said earlier, as soon as Denver sees one puck go in the net, they're just gonna keep going and going and going. So I think Denver gets out of that region. So
yeah, I was leaning Denver too, depending on how Davis plays and if how much can Maine corral them. Because again, we've seen Denver struggle against teams that play moderate defense. If you play defense well and you can keep Denver in check and your power play can get to work, like that's the recipe for beating them. If they don't, then you're in trouble. But we've seen, Western had 2 games where they just stacked up their own goals on Denver and kept Denver at bay. But we also saw games much like the conference tournament finals where once one puck went in, another one found a way in, and then they just ran up the score on Omaha, and Omaha plays a pretty good defense, but you've got to be locked in for 60 minutes against that team. see here. So yes, Ben Bishop was a goaltender who attended Maine. Scott Darling,
Oh, okay.
Jimmy Howard. So they're putting some goaltenders in the league. Garth Snow, that's an old name.
Yeah, that is.
Thought there was somebody else that was pretty. Oh, yep, Gustav Nyquist, former Black Bear, Maine Black Bear.
Oh, yeah, the goose.
That was the other one I was thinking of. So some guys coming out of that program. I know nothing about the current Maine team, so yeah, I'm gonna ride Denver. So I have the final four being BU, BC, Western, and Denver. Be a little NCHC versus the Boston boys.
And I have it as BC, Minnesota, North Dakota, and Denver. So two NCHC teams, a Big Ten, and then a Hockey East.
You're a little bit more scattered than I am. You probably got a better idea, but again, most of those just first thoughts, because that's how you pick tournaments, and especially like the basketball one, because that thing's a whole different animal.
That thing is a cluster. I just straight up guessed in my brackets. I always do one or two, just for the fun of it, and it's pure luck. But it's the best time of year.
And then to wrap up this week's episode, do I still have it? Because, you know, as seasons are ending here, we're getting guys entering the transfer portal or signing pro contracts. We've had a little bit of both already from NCHC teams, including a big name from Minnesota Duluth deciding to take his talents to the pro ranks as Ben Steeves signs with the Florida Panthers of the NHL. I believe is possibly expected to make his at least AHL debut with the Charlotte Checkers, potentially later this month, early next month.
Yeah, that one hurt. And I mean, he proved he can play. Um, he was our offense. I'm happy for him. Sucks to see him go, but he deserves it, and I will be following his career just like you follow all the Western guys' careers. So I wish him the best. Like, I don't want anybody to take it as ill will. I'm just like, why couldn't you stay for one more year?
Back to
You
back,
were our offense.
back to back 20-goal seasons. Leaves after a sophomore season. He is joining NCHC conference mate in Ryan
Patriot.
McAllister from Western Michigan, who left after his freshman season as a free agent, signing to Florida. So they may be teammates in Charlotte here sooner rather than later.
That's it. They better put them on a line.
That is some offense. if everything translates, those two together could be something. So kind of another big loss for the UMD team. They also had Blake Biondi decided to transfer for his grad year. He has since committed to Notre Dame of the Big Ten. The other NCHC making noise both in the transfer portal and with some pro signings is St. Cloud State. Zach Okabe decides to sign with the Cleveland Monsters of the AHL. And Jack Pert signs with your Minnesota Wild. And then transferring is Dominic Bassi after having played 2 years at Colorado College before transferring into St. Cloud, where he played the last 2 seasons. He will once again hit the portal for a grad year, not yet committed. And then Miami has a few. All seniors or older, I believe.
No, as you're looking that up, Peart, I knew there were rumblings that he was close to signing with the Wild via Michael Russo as I was scrolling through Twitter. But with Dominic Bassi, we talked about this. I I don't think either of us were really surprised by that with him entering the portal at the end of the year, just with how his year ended and him basically losing the net and them going with the freshman in Posh.
Yeah.
Uh, it, and we both said it to each other. Posh didn't show us anything really different. It wasn't like a person or an Umberco or a Latcozy coming in and they just absolutely stunned us with their play and how well they played. There was probably something going on behind closed doors. Um, the coaches just saw a little bit more. Dominic decided that, well, if I lost this net, I'm just going to go somewhere else. I wish the best for him. I just don't see him going to a program that's going to be in a better situation than St. Cloud is.
I don't know. We do know that North Dakota likes their seasoned goaltenders. 3 straight years taking a goalie out of the transfer portal. They might have a decision to make with what person decides to do at the end of the season when their season finally ends. So that could be a potential landing spot for Bassi. Maybe he'll make 3 trips in the NCHC and land up north. But who knows? That's his decision to make. He's back in the transfer portal for the second time as a grad student, so we'll see where he ends up. And then Miami so far, the big one, which not to be surprising, they lost their coach. They had a rough season. So far, it is just 3 seniors. I believe technically because they lost their coach, their undergrads could also be entering the portal early, but yet have yet to as of now. Maybe they're going to wait till the coaching decision is made, and then we might see some more movement there. But right now, it is Dylan Moulton, who is a senior. He played 34 games, had 6 goals, 2 assists for 8 points. Backup goaltender Carter McPhail, who I believe will be his second time in the portal. I believe he transferred to Miami from Ferris State. I believe. I don't know. It's not telling me. Is it in here? I want to say that I believe he transferred in last year. Yeah, because it's saying, well, I don't know. It says 2023 conference was an NCHC. No, yeah. It says CCHA was his conference for 2023-2024, which is the current season. So I don't know. I believe he played at Ferris State before transferring to Miami last year.
Okay.
And then Hampus Rydquist, I believe was a countryman of Person, senior defenseman. He has hit the portal after playing 36 games last season, 1 goal, 7 assists for 8 points himself. So Miami so far with 3, Minnesota Duluth with 1, who has already found his new home, and St. Cloud State with 1, but we know those numbers will continue to go up as teams fall out of the postseason here, and we'll keep up with those. Thank you once again to, I believe, Sydney Wolf, who does great work over at The Rink Live and is on top of putting that together as she gets the information for us to then use and make the most use of, or make some intelligent use of, and see how teams are being shaped and gonna look next year. And then on a side note,
I was gonna say intelligent is very loosely term.
Well informed, possibly not intelligent decisions, because we have the information. It's good information because Sydney does a great job. We just may not use it to its fullest.
We're not the intelligent ones. She is.
I mean, I think I'm pretty smart, but I was once told that I'm smarter than I
Good for
look, and I guess that's really
well,
not saying too much, though.
no, no,
It's fair.
it really isn't.
Anyway, oh, shout out to Charles Lindgren, former St. Cloud State goaltender, who is playing in his 100th NHL game.
Oh, good for Charlie.
Uh, so yeah, I believe he is currently. Oh no, they ended up winning in overtime. God bless America.
See,
Stupid Capitals beating the Red Wings in overtime.
I think he's from
We cannot.
Lakeville. I want to say he's from Lakeville.
We cannot close out a game here lately.
Um,
That was kind of an important game with
let's see.
Washington being one spot ahead of Detroit for that second wildcard spot.
Yes,
Anyway,
I was right. Sorry, I was right. He is from Lakeville.
so
I know my Minnesota boys. I just
yeah, good for you. Believe that's
sometimes.
gonna do it for us. There's not much else. Conference or the national tournament starts this weekend. A lot of good games. It starts Thursday. So games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with that day off in the middle for, it's all your fault too. You and Minnesota, Duluth, and North Dakota ruining everything for everyone with their 5 overtime game that had to completely change the way we play college hockey so that I can only go to one day of the regional.
I no, do not blame my school. Blame North Dakota
I blame
because
both of you.
they no, just blame North Dakota because they wouldn't lose. They were gonna lose anyway. So,
Yeah, they
but
should
they
have lost faster and you should have won faster. It's both of your faults. It's equally both of
nope,
your faults.
nope,
Yes. Yep.
nope,
It is.
nope.
It is because I said it is. And I believe I can mute you, so it definitely is your fault. Or equally your faults. So there. Now you are muted. Um There you're. Well, I need you to unmute now. You can unmute yourself, I believe. There you go.
Yeah, yeah. See, you don't know
Uh,
what you're doing.
I don't. I don't generally hit that button. So I could put you in the waiting room. But yeah, no. So there should be some fun games. I guess I'll be able to watch Thursday night from the bar, but I do have to get to bed super early because I've got a 6-hour drive before the game Friday morning, and I've got to find a parking spot to paint my face for that game. So,
Yeah,
um,
I would not drive 6.5 hours for a first round game. I have driven 6.5 hours for a national championship game. So you're crazy.
well, I'm not the only one. There's going to be a bunch of us heading from Kalamazoo to St. Charles, Maryland Heights, the greater St. Louis area, whatever the hell area this game is being played in. I don't know. It's somewhere down in that region at the St. Louis Blues training facility, also known as the home ice for the Lindenwood Lions at the moment. Uh, Yep. So that's the plan for Friday. You can follow along. I won't be tweeting very much while I'm on the road because it's just me. So it'll be 6 hours alone with me in the car by myself. It's gonna be fun. Uh, but I will be tweeting during the game, probably just goals like I usually do because I want to live in that moment. I might even just not tweet anything and just suck that game in. I don't know. We'll see how the game plays and progresses. But our personal Twitters have been below our pictures the whole episode. I'm at Painted Bronco. He's at Maro04. There is a page Twitter handle that has been scrolling along the bottom of the screen. Here it comes once again. It is at Goalhorns and Fight Songs, but there's some O's missing, so you should definitely pay attention to that because I'm not going to read it out tonight. I don't want to. But that's on the Twitter of the X at Goalhorn Fight Song. No O's after the word goal. There's a Gmail, which is Goalhorns and Fight Songs, all the letters put together as one big long word, Goalhorns and Fight Songs at gmail.com. You can email questions, concerns, thoughts, topics. As we're getting ready for the off season here, topics are going to be thinner and thinner as the weeks go on until probably about the middle of summer, and then we'll start kicking back in with schedules and rosters and the last bits and pieces here before the kickoff to next season. Oh, there's some YouTube stuff you can do below this video. There's a like button, a dislike button, a subscribe, a share. Any of those that seem to tickle your fancies, go ahead and give them a little pokey do, whether you're on the computer or on your phone, because you got to tap your phone, so that's a little poke. Anything else? There's a comment section. You can leave a comment if you so choose to. Like as always, you don't have to, and that's perfectly fine. Anything else? All right, well then that's gonna do it until next Tuesday. Once again, he's Mike, I'm Wes, we're going. Peace. That's the wrong button. God dang it, hit the wrong button. That one.